Coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech, major Discord-related data breaches, all thanks to protecting the children. I'm getting to details on how right I was. Rumors of the PlayStation 6 are already starting to stir. Vtuber Sinder is back with a 1,000-page gaslighting document, and political streamer, you can guess exactly who it is, was caught live abusing his dog. All that and more coming today on Eagle Eyes on. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, North 2 a.m. Good everybody, this is Eagle Eyes on Tech. I am Eagle Falcon. We're in the new PC. This is the first episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech actually recorded on the new workstation. And so far, so good. A few little hiccups, a few little optimizations. We definitely need more cooling because the only cooling inside the rig right now are 3 fans. Which you think, oh, 3 fans, that sounds like it should be enough. It's not. If you want an idea of the case we're using and the amount of money I overspent on the case, it is the Corsair 9000D. This case is massive. It puts the Z840 to shame. It puts every actual full workstation to shame. It is as tall as my 12U rack, but not as wide. And the goal is to get a second computer in there. It's that big. So there's still a lot of work to do with it, but we are in fact in it. And we are in fact in the process of very, very slowly upgrading it. So all support to go ahead and fully get this rig going in its ultimate glory. Thank you everyone who's helped support to it, because we've desperately need to get out of it. And that is a problem that a lot of people are seeing. Even my roommate now, was rocking actually an older system than mine. He was rocking a 2011 system, and that's very soon about to be obsolete as Windows 10 support ends. But in any case, I digress. First, though, we have to get to the massive, big, giant I told you so. And I'd be more in everyone's face about the I told you so, but this was the easiest I told you so in all of tech. Easily the easiest. There has been a breach involving the company that works for Discord for ID verification. So for those who don't know, in certain areas, Discord is required by law to collect IDs about users. They're required to do this by law to verify that users are of age. They don't have a choice about this. They have to do this. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So they hire a specialist company to do this. What I keep saying, this is a security nightmare. You're going to have all of these legal documents, these passports, these IDs, whatever it may be. It is going to be a security nightmare. These laws are putting everyone at risk. Lo and behold, look who was right. Literally everyone who went ahead and said, hey, this is gonna be a security nightmare. It's now real. A third-party customer service that Discord uses has suffered a security incident. This is not a breach of Discord itself, but rather the third-party service provider 5CA, who collects government issued IDs as well as other compromising information, partial credit card details, the whole 9 yards, involving identifying a person. Now, originally, when this was first discovered on October 3rd, it was estimated that only 70,000 users had information stolen. So I didn't bother talking about it. It first didn't seem like a big deal at all. It's a big deal. Documents are now surfacing saying that the people who have been compromised range upwards of 5.5 million Now, this is just the total number of users who are affected by the leak, or by the breach, I should say. Already the hackers are going ahead and trying to ransom money out of Discord with this. Now, I want to stress again, I don't blame Discord for this. I don't even blame Zendesk and 5CA and every other party involved in this breach other than the hackers. I blame the hackers, and I blame the stupid laws and law writers that looked at all of this, the whole thing about, you know, collecting IDs and whatnot, saying, oh yeah, no, this is great. This is gonna be great for the children. And we kept saying this is gonna be a security nightmare. This is gonna be a security nightmare. This is gonna be a security nightmare. Look at that. Look who was freaking right. Yeah, it's a security nightmare. Because now there is something close to, well over 5 million people who just had data stolen on them because they went ahead and complied with the law. Good job. And this is just the first one. What happens next? What's the next leak going to look like? Who's the next target? Because you know this isn't going to be the only one. Oh, but it's for the children. It's all for keep the children safe. Oh my God, it's for the children. There were infinitely better ways of doing this than just saying give horribly compromising information that makes the company a massive security risk and still protect the children. I said it once, I'll say it again. Trying to go ahead and push these stupid policies and using think of the children as a shield for them is irresponsible. This did far more damage than it did good. Especially since these systems were fooled by just piping a virtual camera to a video game. Good job. Good freaking job. There's your I told you so for the week. By the way, Apple is going to be locking down iPhones in order to comply with Texas's age verification law. Goody! Another stupid law going into effect that's going to absolutely hinder the way things are done on the devices that you own. Someone in chat says this is why we shouldn't have age verification. There should be age verification. It should not involve your government issued ID. That's insane. I do think there should be some form of age verification, but you know, it could also just be as simple as, you know, maybe a little responsibility within the family. Just a thought. Should be what happens here in the Apple case, but it's not. The whole point of this is going to be that if the Apple account must confirm that they are over 18, and any account under 18, in order to go ahead and use most parts of the phone, must be joining a family share group. Now, this is a better solution. It's not a good solution, but it is a better solution. Like, I can understand this one, and this one isn't putting like everything about you at risk. So, you know, I can tolerate this one. But you know, the whole ID thing, absolutely not. Nope. No siree. But as we're going ahead and looking for ways to block people of certain ages using your phones, Microsoft is trying to block ways for you to use Windows 11 without using an online account. They're starting to plug up more holes with Windows 11 that try to make it so that you cannot use Windows 11 without an online account. They want to make sure you have that account. We can go ahead and file your data with your account. It's going to make us all that easier to sell your data for AI or whatever the heck we're actually doing other than making a usable operating system. Ooh. Ooh. Honestly, the whole Windows 11 thing still has me miffed. And granted, I gave up on my older 11-year-old rig, not because of Windows 11, but because of stability. The whole thing is just, it rubs me the wrong way. It really, really does. Because the thing is that you are an operating system. You are the foundation of my computer. Not my computer is the foundation of your data mining operation. That's not how this works. Here's what I will say though. I have no idea if my new rig is currently signed in with an account or not. I just cloned the Windows 10 drive and then upgraded that to Windows 11. I don't think it's signed in with a Windows account at all, but I'm honestly not sure. And so maybe I found a way around it. We're gonna find out. I'll find out down the road if I get an update one day and it's just like, hey, sign into your Microsoft account where you can't use your computer anymore. And if that ever happens, whoo, there'll be words. There will be words. But it is what it is. Meanwhile, though, Sora 2, the video generator that is going gangbusters right now, people have found out that, in fact, dead celebrities are apparently 100% fair game to Sora 2, which does make me wonder how long until OpenAI gets sued for using the likeness of dead celebrities without permission. Like, at what point does the estate of Michael Jackson go, you can't use his likeness without our permission? Or just pick a celebrity. Like, I don't see this ending well for OpenAI. Oh well, that's now out there. Having Michael Jackson going ahead and pulling a magic trick with a banana, Tupac chatting with Malcolm X, Bruce Lee running a Dragon Energy DJ set, Mr. Rogers doing a cameo on I can't say that, Kurt Cobain stealing KFC chicken fingers, Martin Luther King stuttering through a major speech. Oh boy, this is going to be very, very, very interesting to see how, I keep wondering at what point is copyright going to catch up with OpenAI? And every time I think we finally got him, no one ever does anything. And I wonder at what point is it going to be too much? At what point is there going to be some serious, real pushback? I guess we'll just wait and see how this goes. Just shaking my head. I'd say we should see some pushback from the government, but they've been closed. They're on vacation. I could say so much about that, but this is a tech podcast. Honestly, I'm just mostly glad I got through an entire family thing without politics coming up like ever. I just realized that. Huh. That's bizarre. Anyway, moving on, OpenAI is working on a device, and they're working on the device with Johnny Ive, and it turns out that this new device is being delayed because they can't figure out key issues involving personality and privacy. Whoa. You mean to tell me that the AI company is having trouble getting privacy nailed down? No way. No. That can't be. No. There's no way. That's impossible. Yeah, no, this isn't too surprising at all. Considering that, like, just about everything involving AI to one sector or another is either scary impressive or comically sloppy. So, I mean, for them to go ahead and have problems with the privacy of the device, of course they're having troubles with the privacy of the device. I can't go ahead and get my frickin' idiot puck over here to say something without randomly bringing up the fact that I made mac and cheese. I keep saying these large language models are not ready for prime time. They are not as foolproof as everyone's implying them to be. They are comically flawed. They still are. And lo and behold, we still treat them like they are finished products when they are not. It's one of the biggest problems with big tech. Big tech pushes things out way before they're ready and then want to pretend that everything is fine while they rake in money on an unfinished product. And they keep getting away with it. Easily my biggest pet peeve. Right there. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. This very fancy device designed by Johnny Ive, powered by OpenAI's brains. We'll have to wait and see how that all goes down. Meanwhile, though, Nintendo. You're never going to believe what Nintendo has planned. Can you guess what Nintendo has planned? What do you think Nintendo's in the news for? You think they're in the news for lowering the price of the Switch 2? You think they're in the news for announcing a brand new game to make sure the Switch 2 actually has games on it? Or do you think they're in the news because they're suing someone? And suing someone for an incredibly petty reason? Is it bad that that's pretty much like the only three reasons Nintendo's in the news? They're either in the news because they announced a new game everyone wants, announced a stupid thing that nobody wants, or are suing someone. Yeah, spoiler alert, they're suing someone. They are suing a Reddit moderator for $4.5 million, saying that it's nowhere near enough money for the harm caused. That's insane, by the way. Allegedly due to piracy. Apparently there is a bustling community dedicated to the piracy of Nintendo Switch with more than 238,000 subscribers and thousands of active users at any given moment. Even though the subreddit encourages fans to support their developers financially, but anyone who frequents it, in theory, find piracy resources on how to illicitly obtain games for the Nintendo Portable Console, to which then, yeah, Nintendo is going to go ahead and sue one of the main Reddit moderators of the community, specifically James Archbox Williams. You want to know why I'm going ahead and trying to like lean away from Nintendo games? Why I'm going out of my way anytime I'm looking for a casual game I want to just enjoy? Why I'm looking for it on PC and supporting my Steam Deck more? This little guy right over here. This is why. Because let's say you started up a randomizer community. I've debated time and time again starting up like a monthly Pokemon randomizer like community thing. Make a seed for one of the older Pokemon games, have like a unique twist on it, put like a goal on it, whether it be about collecting a certain number of Pokemon first, or beat the Elite Four under weird circumstances, or anything like that. The problem is that Nintendo can just easily come after that and just be like, oh, that's it, no fun allowed. It's beyond aggravating. Because what does this tell people? This tells people that you should just go ahead and say, yeah, no, don't even bother. Why bother with the Switch 2? If you go ahead and buy used games, you might not be able to use your Switch 2 at all. That's $450 down the drain. Would have been better off buying this. I don't know if Nintendo realizes the utter damage they are causing themselves. Before all of this, people in my streaming community know this. I said I was locked in. I was ready to just go ahead and tighten my belt, eat ramen for a couple of weeks, go ahead and just spend money ahead of time and lock down on a Switch 2. I was ready to lock down a Switch 2 release day. Now I'm just willingly skipping the first Pokemon game of the generation. I don't know if I'm ever going to buy a Switch 2. I don't think it's ever going to happen. They are doing so much damage to their own brand, it's not even funny. We're going to go ahead and take our first break here. When we come back, I have more gaming news to cover, including some looking forward at both the PS6 and the future of Microsoft Xbox. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. Reports are coming out from Digital Foundry that in fact the Switch 2, in order to get the video quality it does with such an old CPU, it is in fact using two different versions of NVIDIA's DLSS in order to accomplish the rather impressive 4K 60 output it has in the dock, which, I mean, let's be perfectly honest for a moment. Is that really that surprising at all? Are you really surprised at all that the little Switch 2 is utilizing as much of NVIDIA's technology as possible to put out excellent gameplay on what is essentially a 5-watt chip? You really shouldn't be. This should shock literally no one. And quite frankly, this was the easiest thing to predict in the world. Now, you want a hot take from me? You want a hot take from the guy who absolutely despises the way Nvidia is taking advantage of the gaming market, how Nvidia is going out and selling gimmicks to the gaming PC market and trying to go ahead and say it's a 600% uplift when in actuality it is a 5% uplift, and they're taking part in what feels like completely blatant false advertising, but is technically still kind of true, so it's not false advertising. Yeah, hate that stuff. You want a hot take from me? I think this is perfectly fine. I would argue the best place for things like DLSS and AMD super resolution and frame gen and all these tools to go ahead and squeeze out more performance out of a GPU at the cost of quality, I would argue the best place for this is in the mobile models. This is perfect for them. Hands down, no questions asked. For these sort of mobile consoles, things like the Switch, things like the Steam Deck, those sort of devices, this is perfect. Quality's not that important on a smaller screen, and you already know when you get a device like this, it's not going to be the best quality. So why not? Let's get a more consistent frame rate if it means the quality is going to suffer a little bit. I'd say this is the exact kind of situation where this sort of technology really thrives. But I don't want this technology to be the only reason a gaming desktop or gaming laptop or some device you spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on is able to run the latest game. I don't think that you should have to buy an RTX 5080 and enable multi-frame gen in order to play Borderlands 4 is okay. I don't think that should be justified either by the developer, or in this case, the developer's really, really stupid CEO, or by Nvidia themselves. This should not be normalized. It never should be. So yeah, I think this is perfectly fine. This is perfectly acceptable. So to that, it's good to know. But if people are hoping that this is going to be the big gotcha for Nintendo, this isn't. Someone in chat says if only they went the AMD route. I don't think AMD would have gotten the battery life Nintendo wanted. Like the Switch 2 is already bigger, but it's not Steam Deck thick. And even then, Nintendo wanted more battery life than what this has. The other thing also, I am now convinced Nintendo is more lawyers than they are engineers. And I think they just simply went, well, Nvidia worked well for us for the Switch 1. Why wouldn't it work well for us for the Switch 2? And they're the biggest GPU company. Yeah, I think it's just that simple, unfortunately. I would have liked to have seen the bigger, higher end mini SoCs that AMD's been using now for things like the ROG Ally and whatnot. Would have loved to have seen that in the Switch too, but it just wasn't in the cards. Meanwhile, though, AMD and Sony are talking about the next generation of RDNA GPUs. It is being called Project Amethyst. And what is it doing? It's going to start making you hate AMD is what it's doing. Because guess what one of the big things that's being talked about with this? You guessed it. It's talking about the power of AI. Which of course means that we're going to start seeing AI generated frames. You know what's really funny right now? Do you know what the average age of gamers are nowadays? Go on, guess. What do you think the average age of self-identified gamers are? It's 41. That's the average. 41 years old. This means that video games or self-identified gamers are not nearly as popular with the younger crowd. Most likely they're just playing more casual games on their phones because they already have a phone, and the cost of a PlayStation is $600. Cost of an Xbox Series X is $700. And the price of the primary component for a gaming PC continues to go up and up and up and up. Gaming, look at the Switch. The Switch 2 is the cheap option into modern gaming, and it's $450 without a game. I can't even price out a super cheap gaming PC. I used to be able to go ahead and say, hey, go pick up a $100 workstation and slap in a 5060 or whatever the current 60 series card, or whatever the current 50 or 60 series card is, and be like, bam, there you go, entry-level gaming rig for less than a console. You can't even do that anymore because these freaking things, these freaking workstations, you can't find them on the market anymore, and just about all of them on the used markets are about to become obsolete thanks to Microsoft not allowing these things to get Windows 11 on them. So what's a young college student supposed to do? Nothing. This is the only console generation that was cheaper to get into at launch. That's insane. You look at any other generation and if you told me it was cheaper to get the console at launch than it was at the end of its life, I'd say you are a lunatic. That's insano talk. PS5 launched at $400 and $500. It is going to go out at $750. I'm probably a little wrong on the numbers, on the exact numbers, but I'm not wrong on the fact that this console generation is going to go out at a higher price than we came in. The only people that can afford gaming are people with a stable job and expendable income. And someone in the chat also correctly pointed out, and its availability was terrible when it released. Very true. Trying to find the blasted thing on launch was nearly impossible. But yeah, we're already talking about a PlayStation 6 with AI generated frames, which, is that really necessary? I do wonder when this generation is done, when we look back on the Xbox series and the PS5, will it have ever felt like the generation ever got off the ground? Because it still feels like the PS5 is in its infancy. It still feels like we're on like launch titles with a few little new games sprinkled in here and there. As someone mentioned in chat, the game library is still tiny. I mean, heck, you know where my PS5 is right now? It's in the living room collecting dust. I have a few games in my back catalog that use the PS5, but not many. It's just FF7 Rebirth and Stray, and that's really it. Rumors are already starting to percolate that we'll start seeing the PS6 at the end of 2026. I'll be blunt. Based on the way the current economy is, I do not expect anything major to come out of the I don't expect anything to drastically improve economically about the console. I think this console is going to start at $600, maybe even more. Maybe start at $700, and I think this is going to be a very hard sell. It's such a shame. It really, really is. But there you go. Rumors of the PS5 or PS6 already in the works. Meanwhile, though, Intel might be getting its act back together. Reports of or rather, not reports, but the new Intel laptop chips are going to be coming out soon. This is going to be a brand new generation Panther Lake. Yes, we are still naming CPU chips after lakes. Traditions sometimes never die. That is, in fact, just the way of things in Intel. It's apparently never going to change. Someone in chat says, when PS Rise, we still get PS4 games while the PS6 is out. Man. Honestly, if developers are still making PS4 compatible games while the PS6 is out, they really need to start looking at doing PC ports. Just embrace it. Because, like, holy smokes. The more and more game consoles continue to just jack up their own prices, the more and more a Steam Deck looks like a much better gaming console than anything on the market. Even though this is easily the jankest console on the entire market. That isn't from like AliExpress or from a flea market. That was the reason for someone in chat says that was your reason for their statement earlier of just going at $9.99 and go full on Switch clone. I do wonder what the sales of the Xbox ROG Ally is going to be. I really, really do. But getting back to the whole thing, the next generation, the Panther Lake Intel laptop chips are going to be a big little architecture. They are going to be chiplet, but on the same die. It's supposed to be their shot at trying to take back their performance crown in the laptop market. These are going to be also using their onboard Battle Mage GPUs. So all in all, should be a relatively respectful little laptop package. This should be something that does give people enough reason to consider Intel again, rather than just go, ew, Intel, go AMD. And, you know, honestly, I hate to say this, as much as I love AMD, and I've been rooting for AMD for a long time, because AMD has needed to kick Intel's butt for a very long time back in the day. But we need Intel back to kick AMD's butt. You need that back and forth, and Intel just hasn't been there. So we'll have to wait and see how well this works for them. Meanwhile, though, Microsoft. You know we're going to have to talk about Microsoft eventually, right? Microsoft is going to be launching, as part of their Game Pass sort of things, a new free Xbox Cloud gaming service. It is going to give you up to 6 hours of gaming at the cost of ads. It's going to be an ad-supported cloud gaming service. Oh boy. Doesn't that sound great? Doesn't that sound fantastic? Isn't that what you want? Don't you love ads? Come on, look at you out there. Don't you secretly want to go ahead and play games with ads in them? If you're not sure that ad gaming is for you, you should try this. You should 100% download Plants vs. Zombies for your phone and try to play that. It's free. It's ad supported. I couldn't do it. I got so sick of watching 2 ads in between each level. It's just impossible. So, I mean, I'll be brutally honest. I don't see this going very far. I really don't. And some people are just saying like, oh, you need a GPU. Allegedly, you don't. However, it's only going to support only certain games, as well as Xbox retro classics. We'll see. We will see. Zone in chat thinks they do see it going well. Maybe. I think it's gonna I don't think it's gonna drive new customers, but I think it is gonna make quite a few people out there just want to shell out money for the full pass. But who knows? Maybe it's not as bad as they're making it sound to be. But right now, it doesn't sound great. It just doesn't sound great. We'll have to wait and see, though. Now, despite the fact that Microsoft is pushing Xbox Cloud Gaming a lot, and I do mean a lot, like a lot, they are saying that there are going to be next-gen consoles coming out. They are not going all cloud. The rumors of Xbox consoles' demise greatly exaggerated. They are, in fact, going to go ahead and sell consoles out there that are going to be too expensive and produce nothing of actual value and just make you want to go get a gaming PC instead. Wait, you know, another thought crossed my mind, because we are getting to the tail end of this Xbox generation, or rather the Xbox and PlayStation generation, right? We're getting to the end of that generation. GPU tech has not advanced a lot since the dawn of the Xbox Series and the PS5. The biggest advancement that we've gotten is, in fact, AI frame gen. And that's basically it. Oh well. Just more and more proof that this generation of consoles really does just continue to disappoint more and more and more. By the way, in case you thought that that EA was completely cooked and has no hope, Battlefield 6 was completely overloaded. where people were facing extensive queues to go ahead and play Battlefield 6 for the first time this weekend as it fully launched, and their servers immediately hit cap. I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea where the Battlefield franchise stood for EA. Turns out pretty high. Might be their only game that has respect left. Might be. I don't know. I haven't heard anything bad about the game yet other than high queue times. So, I mean, you know, good for you, EA, I guess. Props on not sucking too hard. We're actually going to go ahead and take our probably last break here. When we come back, we're going to get into the Twitch news, including the news about Vtuber Sinder and political streamer Hassan causing all the drama in the world, all because of his dog. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. We're gonna drop right into the VTuber drama. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. Like I said, we're gonna go ahead and drop right in to the Sinder drama. Let me get you up to speed with VTuber Sinder. Sinder was a pretty big independent VTuber, meaning that she worked with no talent agency at all. She was independent. She had her own manager, and it came out about 6 months ago that Sinder was attempting to trying to coerce, I think is a good description of it, a independent artist to go exclusively work with her. And in that, it was revealed that Sinder and her manager Red, who also was her boyfriend, significant other, something like that. They're in some sort of relationship, and they were going around basically spreading false information, all in a goal of trying to advance her own career, which actually ended up this artist going by the name of Nanoless to basically start denying services to other VTubers based on this false information. There was also a lot of other stuff just about availability, Nanoless being dumped with so much work from Sinder that it took away from other streamers. It was believed to be like a competition sort of thing. And after all the responses were down, it basically just looked like Sinder had no remorse for what was done, that it was just business and that everyone else is in the wrong, and everyone else is just going, what the heck? You pretended to be our friend, and it turned out behind the scenes you were stabbing us in the back. It didn't go well for Sinder. She went dark for 6 months. Fast forward to now, and lo and behold, Sinder out of nowhere drops a 1,000-page Google Doc trying to justify everything she ever did, with the statement that it's up to the accusers to produce evidence of her wrongdoing. To which I'd say, yeah, you're right. It is up to the accusers to go ahead and put out their proof of her wrongdoing. Here's my counterpoint: they did. Now, I'll fully admit, I did not go through the full 1,000-page document. I have a finite amount of time on this earth, and I am fully convinced, based on the skimming I did, that a large chunk of this document was either A, AI assisted, or B, just included vlogs of various vacations to pad it out. The amount of irrelevant topics in regards to what is she accused of is comical at best. And again, I fully admit, I did not read the full document. I did, in fact, just skim it. Because again, I only have so much time left on this earth. I'd rather not spend an entire week reading a 1,000-page Google document of a psycho trying to justify their psycho behavior after we already had this issue pretty much figured out. And the fact that they went silent for 6 months to then generate this kind of tells me everything I need to know, especially since the first page already contradicts what we know. Because they try to go ahead and say that them and Red have always been together. They never obfuscated that at all, which is untrue. They tried to obfuscate their relationship from the get-go. And right then and there, it's just like, oh, okay, we're just going to gaslight for 1,000 pages. Someone in chat said you should just use AI to summarize. I would rather use AI to turn it into a audiobook and then go, wow, I'd rather listen to Twilight. Like I said, when page freaking one already tries to rewrite history, I now know what I need to know. I'm not going to find any reasonable amount of truth in this document simply because you started the thing off on the basis of a lie. So why should I believe you now? Why should I believe the remaining 999 pages? I've never watched this VTuber. I have no intention of watching this VTuber because I've already seen how they operate behind the scenes. And I don't want anything to do with that sort of thing. Because the way Twitch is right now, views are money, both in ad revenue and in future opportunities. Where I go to watch is important. It's always been that way. Always. So, yeah, I don't care. I don't care about your 1,000 page document of I'm totally innocent. I really don't. And quite frankly, I know the YouTubers, VTubers, streamers, and whatnot that thrive on drama are going to, they're going to go ahead, read the whole thing, and comment on it. They're going to go farm this 1,000 page Google Doc for all that it's worth. And I want no part of it. I really don't. I'm not going to watch this VTuber. And if for some reason this VTuber, for whatever insane reason, looks to me for collaboration, I'd probably say no, because I've already seen how you treat your other collaborators behind the scenes, and I want no part of that. Meanwhile, we go to everyone's favorite left of center political streamer on Twitch, Hassan Piker. He's come up a couple of times on this channel, nowhere near as bad as other channels that talk about streamer drama. Politically, I don't care whether you're left or right of center. You don't want to adopt this guy's views. They are not healthy to anything, is the best way to phrase it. I can't even talk about most of the stuff he talks about on stream. His active support for terrorists, his active calls for violence. He is literally giving everyone that is left of center a bad name. Just about every single day this guy streams, he violates the Twitch's terms of service and receives no punishment. Whether it be in the rule that blatantly says you cannot be an activist for terrorism, directly in the terms of service, this guy breaks it every single day. Whether it be calls for violence, the guy breaks it at least once a week. And now we can add, listing off manifestos, the guy breaks this whenever he can. Now we can add animal abuse to it. I can't show the clip, unfortunately, because first off, it's an audio podcast. Most people can't see it, but I can describe it. Hassan is doing his normal spiels about, whatever dogma he was talking about. It's cut off, so I don't remember the exact context. His dog, who was sitting on this small platform in the background for 4 hours, gets up, starts to move around. In a slightly elevated voice, he calls to the dog, reaches over, in a similar way you might see me reach over to hit, say, the button, You can see his arm move slightly as though he was pushing some kind of button. At that very moment, the dog yelps and goes back to the platform. In the pictures, in the stills, we can see a collar with a black plastic housing with a green blinking LED on it, as well as below that, a housing for what is obviously an Apple AirTag. The reason I point out the Apple AirTag thing is because this eliminates the possibility that the bulk piece is solely intended for tracking. You have the AirTag for tracking. So already, you have a situation that looks really bad. The first theory, of course, is the fact that the dog is a shock collar, and the dog was shocked for moving out of place. He tries to explain this on the spot by saying this is part of what's called place training, except that place training is supposed to be the dog feeling safe in an open place, not that they have to stay in places or a prison. So this doesn't check out. The next day, by the way, people right away start immediately accusing him of using a shock collar. He never takes off the collar that day to just show, yeah, it's a shock collar. He never even goes over to check on the dog when it yelps. It doesn't look good. The next day on stream, he takes the collar and shows it to chat. And he does his best to like kind of show it like this. Okay, where his hand's like covering most of it. It's very difficult to get detail. But let me tell you something. Never underestimate the internet's ability to catch every minute detail. Because in him showing, we get this still image where we can see the majority of the collar and the back piece of it. Now, shock collars have two prongs that stick out of it that on most collars are removable. I have done way too much research on this, by the way, because I want to make sure I had this completely right. And on most shock collars, these prongs are removable. They just screw in and out because you want different depths depending on the dog. So we see it as a flat piece, case closed, right? It's as he eventually tries to say that it's a vibration only collar, which I didn't believe existed. It actually does exist. However, some super sleuths increase the brightness and contrast of one frame of the video, and we've got a very good detailed look at the side housing of this collar, and we can see a strip of black electrical tape on the back of this collar. In addition, these same insane sleuths matched up curve for curve, detail to detail, the exact model of collar that this thing is. I'm not gonna lie, this reminds me of way back in the day, 4chan trying to find the "he will not divide us" flag. So yeah, not only is it a shock collar, we know exactly which shock collar it is. It is the ET300 Mini Educator 1/2 mile remote e-collar, which, yes, is a shock collar. Defenders of Hassan Piker use the excuse of we shouldn't care about animal abuse when there is a genocide in Gaza. That is the defense of their animal abusing streamer. By the by, shock collars are illegal in California. Hassan Piker has admitted several times he streams from Los Angeles. Not banned on Twitch, by the way. I cannot stress enough, I don't care what your political affiliation is. I don't care whether you're right of center, left of center. This isn't okay. This is like not only, but I've had what? God, how many dogs have I been with throughout my life? 5, 6. Not once have we ever had to resort to a shock collar. And quite frankly, I'm actually not sure. I don't think shock collars are illegal here in Wisconsin. So it is an option And even for my aunt's dog, who is an absolute menace and had a young history of biting and would have had, and that was like the most extreme case. And that probably could have actually, you could have made a good case for using a shock collar for her. We never did with her. So I'm just going to say this. I don't know why Hassan's allowed on this platform. I really don't. On the regular basis, we have VTubers having fun and get banned for the slightest little silly thing about their model that was a danger to no one. Here we have a guy not only abusing animals, an animal, we only have confirmation of one. There is footage of him yanking on the tail of another dog, which is also a big no. I was taught that when I was very little. And violates the incitement of violence and terrorist clauses out there on the TOS on a near daily basis. But I'm not done yet. Because we have one more bit of fun Twitch news out there. Not related to Hassan. Well, not directly. Very, very indirectly. We have this Discord post that has leaked out of the Twitch Partners Discord, because there's still tons upon tons of people that claim that they have view count issues. And I dismiss this as, oh, people are using an add-on and the add-on's tracking things poorly. And it probably is, to be honest. But even I found a very unique situation where I was talking with two people at the very, very start of a stream here. We actually had this yesterday. My view count was 0 when I was actively talking with two different people. The post reads as follows. I'm going to read it verbatim and interject as I see fit. The statement reads as follows. We've gotten a lot of questions about viewership and the impact of our viewbot mitigation, and we've heard from some creators that they've observed unusual drops in their view counts. When we made updates to our viewbot detection tools earlier this year, our goal was to make sure that view counts represented actual viewership and aren't artificially inflated in any way. Having accurate view counts is important for streamers who are trying to build their audiences for the live stream industry more broadly. We recognize that a lot of our creators, Twitch is a livelihood, and we don't take that lightly. Addressing view bots is a balancing act. We want to identify artificial views without affecting real viewers. That is a constant tension. We continue to evolve our systems to get better at spotting and removing view bots while making sure we're counting real views accurately. We appreciate the feedback and questions as they help us keep improving how we do this. We've seen a lot of different theories as to why some view counts may have shifted and want to address some of the most prominent directly. There's been a lot of conversations on how lurkers are counted. Let me interject. When they're talking about lurkers here, they're talking about people who turn on a stream and then go do something else. Like back when I had a multi-screen office, even though now I pretty much use a temporary setup office of just like a laptop near the front counter. Back when I had multiple screens, I would go ahead and have one screen with a Twitch stream on while I'd go ahead and do paperwork. All right, that's very common. Lots and lots of people do this sort of thing. They are referred to as lurkers because they're just looking and lurking about, but they're not actively participating in chat. All right, let's get that definition out of the way. The statement continues. A lot of factors can impact viewership over time, including ad blockers, seasonality, and whether you recently hosted an event on your channel. After some investigation by our team, we have identified one of the factors that may be impacting several streams. Some viewers are using third-party browser extensions to view streams. Let me interject. This actually came up quite a bit, where some people were using extensions that automatically launched up streams of people on their follow list and just kept them going in a tab. Honestly, these sort of extensions, I strongly discourage, because that is creating artificial views and that is part of the problem. The statement continues. For example, with one plugin, With one plugin, you feed in your Twitch follower list when, oh, well, I just mentioned that. And when a streamer from that list goes live, a plugin opens a tab for that stream. For years, we've counted a limited number of sessions per IP address towards view count. If you have a lot of streams, more than a normal viewer could reasonably watch, open in many different tabs, our system may determine you are not actively watching, and you will not be counted in any of those streams as a viewer. Let me interject. This is the one that tons of people are looking at, and this is one that I think is exactly the problem, because I think they're saying more than a normal viewer could reasonably watch. I think that number is 2. I think if you have more than one Twitch channel open, it's not going to count you as a viewer in either of them, which is hilarious considering that Twitch has been pushing hard, and I do mean hard, to use their guest stars feature and their frickin' knock features and whatnot, trying to get us to go ahead and collaborate more and more to get people to watch more streams. They want us to encourage viewers to go ahead and watch multiple streams in a collaboration event, but there's a good chance that if you're watching 2 streams, you're not counted in either. Now we go from, I think people are overreacting about the results from a plugin that's really popular to, yeah, I think Twitch has a problem. Their statement continues. Based on our investigation, we believe this one contributor to the view count questions. We've also seen some point out view count and chatter lists aren't matching up. Something we've talked about previously. Chatter lists includes logged in users who are connected to your chat. You can be connected to a chat and show up in the chatter list without watching the video and being counted as a viewer. We use one system to count viewers actually watching the stream and a different one to track your chatters list. Let me interject. This is the reason why I said those plugins for that track viewers and your real viewers is bollocks. That was extra stupid, and you shouldn't be trusting that at all. Period. Ever. End of story. This is something that's been well known within Twitch since ever. Really ever. The statement continues. The view count is updated more frequently than the chatters list. The view count includes all viewers, even those not logged in, whereas chatter list doesn't. The chatter list is updated periodically behind the scenes by clicking the chatter list shows the most recent view. Even then, the chatter list may be larger or smaller than the view count, depending on when you check, since the chatter list backend doesn't update frequently. We recognize that this can lead to confusion and questions, and will look at updating the tooltip to be more clear. When ads play, you may see a brief fluctuation of view counts. Users with certain ad blockers may temporarily not be counted towards your view count during this ad period, though this will normalize after the ad break. This was all a statement posted in the Twitch NA Partners Discord, which I also state this was also not supposed to have ever left that Discord. Someone leaked this. So, with TwitchCon rolling around next week, I have to ask, why are animal abusers allowed on the platform? Why are people that regularly break the rules allowed on the platform? Why are people that are breaking the law allowed on the platform? And why are all of these people the same person and still allowed on the platform? Why is it that we can't get some basic common sense when it comes to counting views on Twitch? And why? And here's the best thing. All right. Here's my best point. Why? Oh, why are we not getting the bloody transparency we were promised? Huh? That's what ticks me off the most. Yeah, Hassan's an animal abuser. No surprise, the guy goes ahead and says he wants business owners dead and bloody in the street. I'm not surprised at all. But I gotta ask Dan, Mr. Dan Clancy, CEO of Twitch, where's the transparency? You keep trying to go out there and say you want to make sure Twitch works best for streamers. Then why the heck did we have to find this? And why'd it have to get leaked? That's the part that irks me the most. Someone in chat says, not to get political, but transparent and common sense were obviously not high on the voters' demand list last election. I don't get, I also say there should be the transparency of those promised there too. I'm not getting that either, unfortunately. But lo and behold, a politician lied. Next, you're going to tell me the sky is blue and water is wet. No surprise there. Here's the thing. It's politics. I don't want to get political. Because if I get political, it's just going to be me going, wow, politician lied. It's going to be no shocker regardless of who's in charge. Because politicians lie and they don't fulfill on their promises. Every time. 100%. Big shocker, no surprise. Meanwhile, though, we have Dan Clancy over here. Someone in chat says, but if our political officers aren't going to be held to those standards, companies are not going to be held to those standards either. The problem is that we continue to try and hold, again, we're not trying to get into politics. We keep trying to hold politicians to those standards. What ends up happening? We vote them out and the opposing party comes in. And then what happens? That party then also lies, cheats, and rigs the game in their favor. It is a back and forth of being a sludge fest. And the unfortunate thing is that the way the political system is here in the US, there is no good answer. There isn't a good answer without suggesting something that should not be suggested. And I'm not going to suggest that sort of thing because I don't know if that's a good answer. I'm not an expert. Here's what I do know. Dan Clancy needs to step down from Twitch. I don't know how to save the political system. I do know how to save Twitch. This CEO is not up to snuff. They are not keeping up with what they've promised the streamers. And they are now actively implementing a system that is lowering everyone's view counts, which does, you may not believe it, it's like, oh, it's just a clout number, it's whatever. To me, I'll be honest. It doesn't matter when my red number says 0, 4, or 12. It doesn't. It really doesn't. I'd like that number to be higher. But when push comes to shove, it's not going to affect me monetarily. For bigger streamers, ooh, that red number is everything. That red number determines whether they make rent or not. That red number determines whether they're going to eat or not. And Twitch is now messing with it. And they're just like, maybe because of this. Between the improper ways of handling the rules, the horrible reputation that this is now giving Twitch. Because, by the way, the dog story is massive. Absolutely massive. And it is funny watching some news articles trying to go ahead and defend Hassan on shocking his dog. Even though we've got all the evidence. We got him 95% of the way there. Like I said, TwitchCon is next week. And I'm not going to lie, the only news that is going to give me hope for Twitch at TwitchCon is Dan Clancy stepping down. Because he is running this platform even worse than it was being ran before. And it was being ran bad before. So I'll have to wait and see. Someone in chat asked, what's a good Twitch alternative that's not Kick? Man, YouTube. That's about it. And unfortunately, YouTube's live streaming system is not really the best. But I'll continue streaming there regardless. Just in case. Because quite frankly, any smart Twitch streamer should also be live streaming on YouTube. That is just simply a smart move. By the by, we were supposed to have a congressional hearing where Dan Clancy was supposed to respond to Congress, as well as the Discord CEO, Reddit CEO, and YouTube CEO, I believe. That had been canceled I do believe that right now, yeah, it is in fact, the hearings did not happen because of the current government shutdown, which led to the cancellation of all scheduled House hearings, which is a dang shame. There's another topic I could go into great detail on, but I really don't want to because I'd rather stick to tech. It makes me saner. It's much more fun to talk about how a Neuralink user, someone who has the Neuralink chip implanted in their brain so they can go ahead and control various electronics, can now control a robot arm. We are 25% of the way to making Doc Ock. We can make Dr. Octopus real. We're 25% of the way there. Like, honestly, this is legitimately a huge step forward for people with disabilities. This is massive. And I do hope, even though, you know, it's an Elon Musk company and Elon Musk has a pretty bad habit of over-promising and under-delivering, I really do hope for these individuals this all works out and there is no horrendous side effects that equivocate to malpractice. That would be awful. But so far, it's looking good. It's looking really well, to which I say, you know, great, fantastic. See, I can be an Elon Musk detractor and go ahead and give props when needed. It's not hard. It's not hard to admit, hey, my concerns so far seem to be unfounded. I still have concerns, and I hope it works well. We all win in that case. But finally, I give you the last burb, the last story of the day, the weirdest story of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Figure 3, an AI-powered robot that has a demo of doing the dishes successfully. So, to which I say, it looks convincing. It looks good. Even if this is an AI-generated video, this looks really good. And also suspiciously like the Tesla robot that was just a guy in a suit. Like, I can't get over the fact that this looks dangerously close to exactly what the Tesla robot said it was going to be. To which I gotta ask, Elon, did you work with Figure 3 to go ahead and push out a Tesla robot the last minute? Or did Figure 3 copy Tesla's homework? I feel like someone copied someone's homework. And as much as I want to say, wow, we are getting very, very close to having our own robot maids that I can't afford, the skeptical part of me wants to go ahead and say, you know, I have a pretty gut feeling that this is faked somehow. The problem is, I can't prove it yet. So the only thing I can go ahead and ask is, when are the in-person demos? And when is this robot going to start obeying Rule 34? Folks, that is going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening, and I do encourage you to check out my other works, twitch.tv/EagleFalcon and youtube.com/EagleFalcon. Take care, and I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye. You know, one of the first things that's asked in the chat showing this robot is, can you fornicate with it? Of course, said much more crudely. To which the obvious answer is no. No, you really can't. There's just motorized joints right where its pelvis would be. Now, that being said, I suppose there is really nothing in there that's going ahead and stopping you from getting a strap on and